Happiness is only possible if it's placed against suffering. Happiness is only possible if suffering is in the background, because you have something to measure it against. If you have nothing to measure happiness against, you don't know what suffering is, and then you don't know what happiness is. If you don't experience the struggle, you don't have that happiness. If you don't experience hunger, you don't know the happiness of being full. You don't know the happiness of eating. Hey everyone, welcome to the Rising Father podcast. I'm Chris Rodack. I wanted to talk to you about gratitude today. Going on another fast, not my son, just me, and a bunch of guys from my group are going to go on. So I've started a 4-day fast yesterday. I'm about 18 hours in, and talking clearly for now, the giant truck runs past my window. But this fast has a lot to do with suffering and gratitude, things we just talked about on our Men of Fire program call. And I wanted to immediately do a podcast and hit some of these important points, get them down and share them with you. Because if you are not grateful, if you do not understand the benefits of suffering and intentionally doing that to yourself, you will find yourself actually suffering. If you do not intentionally make yourself not feel good, you will find yourself not feeling good. Let me give you an example. Which of these two people are harder to make happy? The rich guy or the poor guy? The homeless guy or the guy that inherited hundreds of millions of dollars? Which of those two is harder to make happy? The guy who has everything is harder to make happy than the guy who's homeless. You know, inside, if it's a cold day and you're homeless, a pure blanket would make you happy. If you've got hundreds of millions of dollars, it might take a little bit more to make you happy than just a blanket. Maybe that same blanket you see on the floor, someone left out, and you snap, and it makes you angry. So the same thing gives one person paradise and makes the other person snap. Why? Because the other person is suffering more and has less. So it's easier for them to be happy. And that takes us into pleasure-seeking and common things that make guys miserable, unpresent, and cause their downfall, and that is searching for things that feel good. Just like the rich guy, the person that's constantly seeking things that make him feel really good, seeking for more and more, needs more and more to be happy. The guy who has nothing needs less. I am going to be fasting for 4 days. So for me, by the end of my fast, an apple is going to be paradise to me. A single bite of an apple is going to make me so happy. So happiness will be really easy for me to come by because I'm going to be suffering. If I'm eating all day, if I'm eating for these 4 days and just binging and filling myself up and I'm never hungry, that apple isn't going to make me happy. But because I'm suffering and fasting, that apple is going to make me really happy. Imagine you're a person who's constantly eating apples, as an example. Somebody who's constantly filling themselves up. Somebody who's constantly seeking excess. What do you have to judge your happiness against? Nothing. Happiness is only possible if it's placed against suffering. Happiness is only possible if suffering is in the background, because you have something to measure it against. If you have nothing to measure happiness against, you don't know what suffering is, and then you don't know what happiness is. Why are many very, very well-off people miserable? Why are some of the most miserable people in the world people that should be the happiest? That's because they no longer have any gauge of what unhappiness is and happiness is. Everything's just happy. So then the things that would normally make other people happy make them suffer and make them unhappy. I know a guy who, lives in a great place. He's in Florida. He, his vacation home, doesn't work anymore, should be very, very happy. Has no problems. Nothing really to deal with. Very, very miserable guy. Very, very unhappy guy. Shouldn't be. He has no struggles, right? No struggles. Should be happy. He eliminated this struggle from his life. But he's very, very unhappy. If you don't experience the struggle, you don't have that happiness. If you don't experience hunger, you don't know the happiness of being full. You don't know the happiness of eating. I'm in Pittsburgh here. It's the middle of April, and it's cold, it's dark, it's wet, it's disgusting. It's the way it always is in Pittsburgh in April. Those beautiful, warm, sunny May days are going to be life-changing. The sun's going to hit my skin. It's going to feel warm. Me and my wife are just going to sit on our patio, not talk, and just feel the sun. I'll take my shirt off. I'll sunbathe. Like, just the pure feeling of the sun is going to feel so great because it's so horrible right now. Because when I go outside, if I'm wearing my Crocs, I'm going to get cold, wet water all over my socks and Crocs, and it's going to be nasty and uncomfortable, and every ride to the gym is going to be cold. So when I ride to the gym and it's warm, or I'm dry and I feel the sun on my face, just that regular day is going to feel amazing. But then in July, after I've had 3 months of sun and warmth, I'll probably take it for granted again. And I'll say, oh, I could use a little bit of winter in my life. You know, after I had 80 straight days of nice weather, I'm going to walk outside on a sunny, beautiful day, and it's just going to be like, yeah, it's just sunny again. I better put some sunscreen on and some glasses. I will take that day for granted because I'm no longer suffering. So don't take those days for granted. And then also don't take your suffering for granted because the suffering days make the regular days much, much better. The bad days make the normal days amazing. And that's where you can find happiness. We get into trouble whenever we have those bad days and we try to numb that pain. We try to constantly run from it. We're always trying to medicate it. Doing things to make us feel good right now. Drinking, eating, looking, distracting. Instead of sitting in that pain and saying, no, this is okay that I feel this way. This is a good sign for me. This suffering state I'm in, this depression, this anxiety, this stress, this fear, this doubt, this pain, this is good for me. Actually, the more I suffer right now, the greater my capacity to be happy is when this is over. Imagine you are somebody who survived cancer. Waking up is amazing. Imagine you're somebody who was diagnosed with cancer and they said you're going to die and you beat it. Do you think it's hard to make you happy? No, you're happy that you wake up in the morning. You're happy that you didn't die. Because you suffered so greatly, you've got such an amazing capacity to be happy. So you're grateful for everything. Imagine you're somebody who got an infection in their leg and their leg had to be cut off. You would be amazingly grateful to just have a leg. If all you would want in your life, you wouldn't want $1 million, you would just want a leg. Like if you could just have a leg, you'd be so happy. And you right now listening to this, if you've got 2 legs, be happy. You've got 2 legs. You have a beating heart, be happy. Somebody just had a heart attack. And as we listen to this, there are people having heart attacks. Your heart is beating right now. Be happy. And then, however much our suffering state is, there's also people who would love to be in that situation. I was talking to a guy who was complaining about the amount of taxes he has to pay. Like, yeah, that's bad. And that was making him miserable. The amount of taxes he had to pay legitimately made him suffer. Put him into a suffering state. It put him into hell. He put himself into hell because of his reaction to having to pay taxes. So his hell of he's a business owner. Being a business owner, he's got 3 houses. Business owner, 3 houses, live in the United States. But he's upset he has to pay taxes. Is there anyone else in the world who that situation would be heaven for them? That situation would be paradise for them. Is there anyone else in the world? I think so. I bet there's someone in a third world country who would kill to be in that situation. Business owner, 3 houses, but you have taxes to pay. 2 different people, 2 very different versions of what heaven and hell is. One person's very hard to make happy. To make that guy happy, the entire tax code needs rewritten. He needs accountants and hundreds of thousands of dollars and government plans to make him happy. The other person, man, if he was just in that situation for a second, he'd be great. And why is this important? Because our happiness doesn't just affect us. When I'm upset, my wife is upset that I'm upset. My kids are upset that I'm upset. My upsetness doesn't just affect me, it affects everyone who I'm around. I get less done when I'm upset. When I'm miserable, depressed, anxious, stressed out, I get nothing done because I feel bad. So it affects other people. It also affects the thing I'm trying to do. And for me, I get upset when I don't get things done. When I'm not making progress in an area of my life, that makes me upset. And then when I'm upset, I get less done. So then what does that sound like to you? It sounds like a spiral. Also, it's really bad for your body. But being stressed out is really, really bad for you personally and your just overall health. And bad for your mindset. So that's why. That's the why don't we want to be upset, stressed out, in a suffering state all the time. And I want to make the point that we choose to be in a suffering state based on our level of gratitude and the level of suffering that we intentionally put ourselves into. There's a bunch of guys, there's like 10 guys in my group who are all fasting right now, many of them for the very first time. Some of them have never gone 12 hours without eating, and they're going to do a 24-hour fast, a 2-day fast. A couple guys we're going to do a 4-day fast with me, and they're going to find themselves hungry for the very first time in a real way, not like just a little hungry, like really hungry. And you've got all these hours in the day where you could just walk up to the fridge and grab something, and you're going to tell yourself no. That's a powerful place to be. It's a powerful thing to do, to have that self-control of yourself. But that feeling is really strong, and that hunger is really painful. And they're going to find themselves there for the very first time. And in that pain, I said, take out your journal, start writing down, because you're going to get some wisdom. You're going to get some things that mean a lot to you. You're going to find rushes of energy, rushes of being down. And don't take it for granted. When you're in that suffering state, remember how great it is to not be in the suffering state. So what does life look like when you're not fasting? It just looks like normal life. It's one of the reasons why people do cold plunges. It's one of the reasons why people wake up early. Not every reason, but that is a reason. I know there's people who run so far, they do ultramarathons for that suffering state and that mindset that it puts you in. Whenever you are hungry, which is something anybody can make themselves, regular life is awesome. Regular life makes you happy when you're just not hungry. So by all of us doing this, we're going to find more joy and happiness in our everyday life because we're not going to take it for granted, and we're going to be grateful for the everyday things we have. So I would encourage you to try a fast. It doesn't have to be a 4-day one. It could be, hey, I've never eaten 8 hours before. I have never not eaten for 8 hours before, so I'm going to not eat for 8 hours. That could be your fast, and that's fine. As I told the guys in my group, there is no perfection in this. There's do the best you can. The point isn't perfection. The point is the lessons you learn on this. And you can learn the lessons of a fast and lessons in suffering in any state of suffering, as long as you look at it the right way. As long as you look at it the right way, you can find lessons in happiness in anything. So that's where I'm going to end this one. A little short one today. Suffering, gratitude. Look at yourself. You've got a beating heart. You've got hands. You've got legs. You've got a house. You've got a job. Let that alone make you grateful, and let that alone make you happy. Know that the suffering that you are feeling, you are choosing. Any suffering you're feeling is something you are choosing that you can rid yourself of immediately And you can also find yourself in less suffering by choosing to intentionally suffer every single day. That's part of the process of my men's program, Men of Fire, is we intentionally do that every single day, and eventually you look forward to it. And you're like, yes, I'm going to push myself at the gym once again. I'm going to be in a caloric deficit once again. And then you see your body changing and your relationships changing, and then you start to make the connection of, oh, I need to suffer if I need to grow. So I'm going to gift myself discipline. I'm going to gift myself this suffering today because I deserve a better life. So I'm going to take the pain today because I love myself and I want to see myself thrive. That's getting to another level. But if you're at the very beginning, just skip a meal today. And if you can find the strength to not grab something to eat whenever that first pang of hunger comes, and you just made yourself a little bit stronger. Skip one meal. Can you make it past one pang of hunger? If it's a yes, great, you just made yourself stronger, and then you can slowly make it bigger. And then you'll find that transferring to other areas of your life. All right, guys, I'll see you.